Good afternoon, Barbara Laronga. It's Nick Mondello here on behalf of Youth Trumpet Scholars. How are you today?
I'm great, Nick. Thanks for having me.
Great. It's so great seeing you, and I love your studio there. It's so awesome.
It's my
Um,
taste.
what I'd like to do is do a brief bio. Um, Barbara has been a member of the DIVA Jazz Orchestra for quite some time. I believe you've recorded 5 albums with them and one with the smaller group, the Five Play, right?
Yeah.
Great. And she is a graduate of UMass in Lowell, Massachusetts, where she took music and business and a master in music at the Manhattan School of Music. So thank you, Barbara. I'd like to start our conversation. I'd like you to think back to when you were maybe in junior high school or high school. Can you kind of describe yourself as a young trumpet player at that particular point in time?
Yeah, I was kind of an anomaly. I sort of knew that I wanted to play the trumpet for the rest of my life the minute that I picked it up. And I started when I was 8 in, going into fourth grade, I think that was. And I had a great education system. I grew up in Massachusetts and we had group lessons in fourth grade and band all the way through elementary school. And by the time I got to junior high, I was off and running. I was auditioning for, districts and all state and all of the things that you could do. A lot of the bands would go to the competitions, MMEA and all those things. So I just threw myself right in there and I knew that I wanted to play the trumpet forever and ever and ever. And I practiced all the time and I just loved it.
Very interesting when you said you practiced all the time because in my two other interviews, there were comments like, I used to practice 7 hours a day, or that's all I did was practice. So for our students, that's something that they certainly would gain from. Um, so you knew pretty early that you wanted to be a professional trumpet player?
Yep, I did.
Do you ever think about considering any other field?
Um, I if you asked me, maybe when I was in junior high or high school, I probably would have said I wanted to be a professional soccer player as well. So trumpet was never on the back burner. That was always my main focus, but I loved sports. I grew up a swimmer and also a soccer player. I was a goalie. And so I loved that, but that sort of phased out because I really was getting serious at the trumpet. By the time I was in high school, everything was about trumpet and gearing toward colleges. Um, so,
Did you, because of your dedication to the trumpet and practice, do you think, did you like miss anything either socially or in any other way?
I don't think so. I was a pretty social person. I mean, music circles can be really social as well. And I mean, by the time I got to college, me and my friends would go practice and would go practice together after classes were over, and we'd all be hanging out in the practice room. All right, let's go practice for an hour. Meet you in the hallway, and at 10 o'clock, and then we'd hang out in the hallway and take a little break on our chops, and then go back in and practice more. And so that was really fun. And then we'd go out and hang out and eat lunch together and party together and all the things. So I felt like music circles were very social in general. I don't feel like I missed out at all.
Um, did you, do you think that there were things that you learned in trumpet discipline or other factors that would have helped you, let's say, if you did go into some other field?
Well, that's interesting. By the time I got to college, I actually was considering also music business. I don't have a business degree. I have a music business degree specifically. And I was really interested in all the different professions in music that are available. And my school, UMass Lowell, actually required us to do a semester-long internship working as an intern. Um, and I went to New York City and I worked as an intern for IRS Records when they were around. And it taught me a lot. I was working for the East Coast Director of Video Promotion and Publications. And so, it was just business, 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 business all day long. And what it taught me was, I don't want to do this. I want to go play my trumpet. So,
Well,
so that's what I learned. But I knew I learned a lot about all those professions, and I thought that's still really interesting to me. But it's not my wheelhouse. I don't want to exist there.
it's very interesting because in some of the videos that the students have submitted, they talk about career goals, and many of them want to work in the music area. And some of them also indicate other professions, veterinarian or librarian or whatever. And I think that your particular experience working in a business end of the music aspect of the music business, would be very helpful to the youth trumpet scholars students.
Yeah.
Uh, in what you do in LA, in Los Angeles, you do a fair amount of recording as a pro trumpet player. Is that correct?
I do a fair amount of recording. There's definitely like A-list movie people. I've gotten to do a very small amount of that, but I've done a bunch of TV work, and like just a lot of internet stuff. And I have my own little studio, so I'm actually a producer too, and I record trumpet tracks for people and send them off, and I get hired to do that all the time. And so yeah, there's definitely a lot of studio work happening, but it doesn't even have to be in LA. It's all over the place now.
Um, yeah, so it's kind of like technology really has given professional musicians a lot more flexibility. You can record in your home, and that particular piece of music can be also being recorded anywhere in the world, right?
For sure. Yep. It's awesome.
Um, One of the last questions that we have here, um, what two, well, let's put it this way, what couple of pieces of advice that you received either from a music educator or someone not even in the music business that you think was very valuable to you in your field as a professional trumpet player?
Um, as a jazz player, I was so um, I don't want to say afraid, but I was not always brave to take solos. And so I think one of the greatest advices I got was take every solo that comes your way. Don't pass a solo. If it's in your book, just play it because it's an opportunity to practice. And, we're our own harshest critics. So don't worry about what other people think. Take the opportunity to play that solo and just don't pass it. That was one of the greatest pieces of advice as far as being brave in improvising. Another piece of great advice I received was never try to be anybody else and keep it simple. So just be true to yourself. Sometimes we have to take a solo and it's after somebody who has amazing chops and they're playing, 30-second notes their whole solo, and then we start our solo and we try to be like them. But if that's not who we are, then it's never going to sound authentic. So just, it's almost like you have to step back and just sort of relax for a second and allow your voice to happen.
What
So,
would you say to a student that um, is nervous to perform, not necessarily stage fright, but just nervous to perform let's say in a recital or a solo competition like NISMA, what kind of advice would you have for them?
Um, the first and greatest thing that's going to prevent nerves is preparation. So if you're really well prepared, that will make you feel more confident going in and it will tame your nerves. Second thing is maybe try to think about why it is that you're nervous. Most of the time, for me, it's been, in auditions and things like that, competitions, we know that somebody is judging us. And so, we want to be as perfect as we can. So if you just take that off the table and say, I am here to create music. If I create music, I'm going to be judged well. So remember that and don't worry so much about being judged because, music is an art form. Some people are going to love what we do and some people are not. And that's a hard thing to hear as a young person because we want everybody to like us, of course. But, it's like food. We don't like all kinds of food. We like certain kinds of food. So for me, that was really important um, to come to grips with. Don't worry about what other people are thinking and just be in the moment and create music.
Terrific. Barbara Laronga, this has been very, very interesting. I look forward to seeing you in Los Angeles at the Barclay Center and getting involved with the clinics for the Youth Trumpet Scholars on September 21st. Okay? All
Gosh,
right.
that's
Have a great
exciting.
evening. Thank you so very much. Okay?
Thank you, Nick. I'm so excited to hear everyone play. This is going to be awesome.
I agree. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Nick.
Bye bye now. Bye.
All right.